All right, we're back here on Real Talk with the Real Talk Roundup. Welcome back to the set, Gerard.
Thank you for bringing me on.
Now, one of the things that we've talked about in both segments here today is the price or the cost of becoming a content creator, quality content creator. And Greg was saying that today anyone can use an iPhone and produce content and potentially go viral. I know we were talking about this on our segment, Gerard, in terms of high production quality. We both invest in videographers, cameras, editing. So there's two sides here.
Yeah.
Listening to Greg, do you feel that it's absolutely necessary that someone invest in these tools, or should they just put themselves out there?
I mean, the one thing that he said that I really related to is that, like, everyone has to do it their own way. Like, everyone has to be different, you know? Everyone has to kind of be unique. And whatever that means for you. Like, for me, I wanted to do a series that was cinematic and high production in the way that I was showing day in the life of modern day leaders. But, you know, for someone else, like, just picking up the iPhone and just being, you know, wild and just being yourself, you know, and doing it consistently, I think it's just, at the end of the day, it's what works for you. And I think it comes down to consistency. No matter what you choose to do, whether you decide to just use an iPhone or you decide to get a team around you and do high production, commit and really be consistent in that content. Otherwise, you know, I think that's what you won't really truly get the momentum.
Now, Greg, influencer marketing has become a big business. There are agencies out there today. There are software, technologies that assist brands with identifying influencers and managing these campaigns. So influencer marketing has become big business, $1 million business. Do you foresee this continuing? Do you see this trend continuing to rise in terms of influencers themselves making lots of money off of these social networks? Or do you think the social networks are going to peel back like Facebook has with its algorithm?
Well, influencer marketing, in a way, it's not even a new trend. I mean, Nike paired up with Michael Jordan and made billions of dollars decades ago using him as an influencer to sell shoes. And people have been, largely in the world of athletes, but with a lot of celebrities, this idea of bringing on an influencer to promote your brand has been around for a long time. It's now dubbed influencer marketing. The big difference, of course, is there are a lot more influencers now than there used to be. It used to be there could only be a handful of celebrities and only a handful of athletes that anybody knew because media was very restricted. There were only so many TV channels and only so many newspapers. Whereas now there's this kind of long tail, this infinite sea of influencers, and across lots of little niches. So if you're into food and travel, there's an influencer. If you're into pets, there's a whole bunch of influencers. In any city, there are influencers. So there are many more than ever before, and these challenges to scale it. So I think influencer marketing is here to stay. It's been a part of how things worked for a long time. I think regardless of how the algorithms change, all these social networks need content. A lot of influencers have been very smart about diversifying and being on YouTube, being on Instagram, but also maybe having a podcast and building an email list, maybe even doing events. So they've found multiple ways to reach their audience. I do think right now we're in a time of a lot of confusion. So there have been a lot of people who've been able to, who don't really have an audience, be able to buy audiences using bots and whatnot, and kind of finagle brands that are just getting into this area and don't know what to look for to spend their money on wisely. So I think it's probably a shake-up with brands really focusing their dollars and figuring out, like, okay, who are the influencers that really help me reach my audience versus someone who was just sold to me who had a lot of followers but doesn't really engage with an audience.
You bring up some interesting points there, and you mentioned bots and fake followers. What should brands be looking for specifically when working with an influencer?
Yeah, there are a number of tactics they can employ. One is looking not only at how many followers an influencer has, but who's engaging with their content. And not just how many engagements. You want to also look at how many engagements, but you look through who are the actual people engaging with that content. You can then click on their profile page and sometimes like, okay, well, this account was created 1 week ago and liked one video and it's this video. So what are the chances someone signed up to Instagram just to like this one photo versus that being a bot? Versus seeing like, hey, is this actually do these look like real people? Another too is you can look at the network of influencers, because the influencers themselves have great taste. So who are do they have other influencers and creators following them and actually complimenting their work and collaborating with them? Or are they just kind of coming out of nowhere all of a sudden and getting lots of likes? So, there's no exact science to it, and it's a bit of a cat and mouse game where people are coming up with new algorithms, people get more sophisticated. But generally looking, quality followers and other influencers are two great signals.
Now I'm going to open up this question for both of you guys. Are influencers and creators today truly making money?
Well, we're seeing plenty of them are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, there's a long tail. There are a lot of people who are aspiring and not making much money yet, or maybe no money yet, but a lot of them are making millions of dollars a year.
Interesting. And these are, I would say, like the mega creators, correct? The ones that have millions of followers, get a lot, thousands of people engaging with their content?
Yeah, we see the mega creators are the ones that can command the millions, but we do see there are a lot of people in the middle where, they work hard. Maybe they'll make, high 5 figures or low 6 figures a year. So for them, it's a job. Like, they work hard. It's not like they're just, there's this kind of illusion of being an influencer where you see like, oh, it's just like me living my life, taking selfies, and they're making 100K. There are a lot of people where they're making 100K, but it's their full-time job. They are working their ass off to make this great content and connect with an audience. And I think that's great, because they've created a job for themselves. They have to work hard still, but they're doing what they love. And I know a lot of them quit jobs, being in corporate America before that to do that. So, there are a lot of people, that kind of middle area, I think, is kind of the unsung hero of the influencer world.
Now, for you, Gerard, what would you say is the hardest thing for you in terms of being a recognizable personality online?
I think the hardest part is definitely the vulnerability part. It's getting comfortable, and I think with it's the superpower too, right? That once you can really start to connect with your audience in a way where you're okay with being completely raw and yourself, and on both sides, and that's a hard part, because everybody, you love showing the lifestyle. You see a lot of these influencers that make, they make a ton of money. Maybe their feed, it's almost perfect, right? Because they're selling the aspiration of something. But I think that, like, I really love the influencers that start to open up and start to show also the, the other side of when life happens to them and they have to be a little bit more vulnerable. And I do believe that that's where you really connect. You really start to connect with your audience.
Now, I see a lot of content nowadays from, let's just say, thought leaders or those at the top that are posting their cars and their house and their boats. And it's almost like they're selling this illusion that if you follow them in their footsteps, you're going to fall into that wealth too. What do you guys say about that? Is that a very dangerous path to follow, or is it realistic?
Well, I think for creators, and I give the same advice to aspirational entrepreneurs, that you have to love what you're doing. You have to love doing what you're doing. You can't be, I don't think, a creator or an entrepreneur because you want the boat. If you want the boat, go into investment banking, right? It's a great, there are careers made for people who want to work hard to get money to do stuff, and that are a much safer bet if you want to just make a lot of money. But I think being a creator or an entrepreneur, like, you have to put so much of yourself into it. There's no guarantees. You could work your ass off and get nothing for it. So if you don't just love what you're doing and put that into it, it'll show, and people won't want to watch your channel if you're a creator. People won't want to join you in your business if you're an entrepreneur, and ultimately it won't work. So there is a lot of it where you got to put your mindset around, do I love doing the work? And then hoping that all that stuff follows, but not do it for that stuff.
Yeah. I think it's also about, how do you want to be, perceived? How do you want to make people feel? How do you, how do you want to inspire? And, like, understanding that you're putting yourself out there, right? So you don't want to, you don't want to just like fake it till you make it and show like all the high life, and if it's not really who you are, so I think at the end of the day, it's perfectly fine to be someone out there who wants to show a certain lifestyle, but it's about showing truly what matters to you, and doing it for the reason of like really inspiring. There's a lot of people that I follow that have an unbelievable lifestyle, but I just make sure that there's a deeper meaning behind it all, right? Of like how they've gotten that success, and why that there's more than just that. It's deeper than that. There's more to like their legacy that they're looking to build, but they still like high aspirational things. I think so. It's perfectly fine to show all of that, but I think when someone's thinking about building a personal brand, just know that it's almost like your new resume, and it's also somewhat of your legacy, right? Like one day, it's interesting. You sometimes you see some people that become really famous this past year. I've been seeing now more than ever, like people that have become really famous, build an unbelievable social media, and they actually pass away. And there's been some like hip hop artists that have overdosed. There's been people, and you can look back and kind of, it's like this, which our parents, our ancestors never had that, right? We can actually look and kind of see a display of like the choices that they've made and the things that they've put out, and it's
dealing with trolls and haters and things that are in your face ultimately.
I'm just thinking that like whatever you put out because it's really meaningful to you, because that's something that you're leaving behind, and you're doing it for other people to be inspired by the way you live your life and your purpose ultimately. So I think that everyone should share their story, but just do it for the right reasons. And if you want to share your boat and you want to share your lifestyle, like go for it. Own it. But make sure that you also share like why you do what you do, and why you work hard every day to get those things. And that's all I would say.
Out of curiosity, gentlemen, where do you spend the most time on social media, whether consuming or creating content?
Yeah, I'm old school. I still love Twitter. It's a lot of fun. Just I love kind of the witty, when someone can get a witty one-liner, and a great way to follow the news and what's going on. Spend a lot of time on Instagram too. It's a fun platform, and starts sharing a lot of stories on there.
Gerard?
I would say Instagram has been my number one platform that I enjoy, because I'm visual. Twitter, it's really cool to see Twitter just like continuing, like it's just a unique platform, and I love it. I love Twitter as well. YouTube, I feel like is the hardest, but I think it's the most engaging. And if you can really do well on YouTube, it really, I think, is the best platform that I've seen translate into another platform like Instagram, where the engagement goes through the roof.
I agree. I think that YouTube, I'd like a challenge personally. It seems like both of you guys do as well. I see YouTube being the hardest social network to really scale and dominate. And it's a true storytelling platform, like if you use it like you do with Leaders Create Leaders and vlogs and whatnot. Closing note, gentlemen, I'm going to open it up to both of you. Where do you see social media headed from here?
Yeah, it's hard to, the big thing I see with social media is that there's always unexpected twists and turns. No one expected the idea of the story medium pioneered by Snapchat, and then of course adopted by Instagram. I don't think anyone saw that coming until it did, except for maybe Evan over at Snapchat. So, it's always really hard to say. I mean, the one kind of mega trend I see with it is that video is just getting better and better, both in terms of how it can be created and how easy it is to download and consume. So I think that these social networks are going to continuing to push more and more to the video side as opposed to the tech side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see it all evolve. I mean, I'm really excited about Facebook right now and the moves that Mark Zuckerberg will be taking going forward. I know that he wants to compete, I'm sure, with YouTube right now, and I see a lot happening with Facebook Watch and going live on Facebook, and so I'm really interested to see where Facebook's headed as well, and it seems like there's going to be it's very competitive, but ultimately it's exciting, and I think find the platform that works for you and go all in on it, and then slowly have fun. I mean, just have fun with social media, You know, don't take it all too seriously, right? Because it's such an amazing way for all of us to just go out there and share life. Life's short, you know, and now we have such an opportunity to document things like never before. So I'm excited about the future.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me here today.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. Signing off from Nasdaq here in Times Square. Thank you so much to our viewers for watching this episode of Real Talk. If you liked this episode, be sure to subscribe. Also, hit that little bell so you can be notified next time that we publish a new episode. Thanks so much for watching.